Hello everybody. It is Saturday the 30th of November and I want to talk about again that if we follow the way of Jesus we will go spiritually wrong on speed. I want to show you this here. His way. And what needs to be done for his way to work, what needs to be done to us, what we need to become for that way to work. Now, as I said, at the moment there is a spiritual awakening. And again, that is not we suddenly know people in the Pleiades or whatever. That's forget it. It is simply that we are becoming aware of that we are more than we knew we are. Yeah? And it's like Greg Braden says, I love that definition of divinity. We're discovering our own divinity, and divinity meaning is to go beyond perceived limitations. We're starting to go beyond our perceived limitations into the awareness that there's more to us than just the body. Yeah, that we are spiritual beings, that we are beings of energy, and that our energy can affect the material world, can change it. That is what we're waking up to. Yeah, and then it is really the way, the question of what should that knowledge serve, and that is the way of Jesus. That knowledge should serve something somewhere else, a God that is not of this world. A being, an alien being, that whose kingdom is not of this world. That is what our knowledge should serve. But at the moment, as I said, this whole spiritual awakening, the church and others are trying very hard to suppress that. Because at that point, we would be free. If you think about the healings, the loaves and the fishes and all of that, we would be free of the medical system, we would be free of the authority, we would be free of the economic system. That would be the way to absolute independence. We would no longer depend on receiving anything from them. So that's what they're trying to prevent it. And I think together with the technocrats, because I really believe that those devices that are being flogged at the moment, that will put you on to a higher level of energy. Yeah? They will emit a field, and then you will feel on a higher level of energy. That is administering a drug on the spiritual way. Yeah? You feel really good, independent of the reality around you. Because that's what it does. You might as well take heroin. Because it has the same effect. You just don't give a damn anymore. And that is exactly what those things do. And they trap you on that level of energy. I'm on a high vibration. I'm on a high. Yeah, great. Enjoy. So that is maybe one way by which they're trying to prevent this awakening. But here comes if it cannot be prevented, and there are groups pushing very hard toward that, and good for them. Then the church needs to rely on that they have in the last 2,000 years created enough sheep that will become aware of their new abilities, that can do it, but they will do it in the name of God. They will be told what to do with that and what it should work. And they will follow blindly, because that is the way of Jesus. And here, as you're becoming part of the body of Christ, whereas right now you are an autonomous being, Yeah, you have your own knowledge of good and bad. You have your own perception and your own knowledge of yourself and the world around you. And out of that comes a knowledge of good and bad that you have of your own. That's your conscience. Jesus did away with that. His conscience was the Father in heaven. He was the decision maker. He was the judge. So again, the body of Christ is basically a lot of autonomous bodies without a brain. Zombies. Because the brain is in heaven. And all the orders will come from there. Now, I came to this because I have a translation out of the ancient Aramaic here, and that is in John 16, but out of the Nag Hammadi scriptures, I think. Well, I think it is in the Gospel of Thomas, actually, in the Nag Hammadi scriptures. Sorry, I'm a bit confused about this at the moment, but still. What it says in the Bible, therefore I tell you, whatsoever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. That's what it says in the Bible. In the Aramaic, in the Nag Hammadi, there's a longer passage. And it actually says, all things that you ask straight and directly from inside my name, you shall be given. So far you have not done this. Ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. Be enveloped by what you desire, that your gladness may be full. So it is be developed by what you desire. You are already in that place. You are already experiencing it. And I would say that's visualization and most importantly, feeling. Feeling that you're already there. That is a prayer. That is a prayer. I would not even use words because I think words get in the way. It's the feeling and then the visualization that will aid the feeling. There's the woman in aid of her husband. Yeah. So, that is a prayer. But then it says, ask without hidden motive and be surrounded by your answer. And that is ask without hidden motive. That is, you cannot lie. Or you cannot deceive. You cannot deceive in a prayer because it will not work. Because the truth, the energetic truth will be there. There is an adversary to what it is you're asking for. Yeah, there's a shadow there. There's a shadow. And through that, it will not work. So that is why I asked myself, how was Jesus able to do this when what he did, especially Lazarus was one of the really big examples, when it was not the truth of a human being. Yeah? There should have been an adversary there. Yeah? When you have the ability to heal and your friend is dying, the truth of a human being is you run. You run there and then and you will heal him. But he didn't. He held back. He had got orders to hold back. He let him die. Deliberately let him die. Only to resurrect him afterwards because it served some purpose. And again, there should have been an adversary there as a human being that would have gone against that. That would have said, no, that is not right. I need to go now. And that is the adversary that God has to get rid of. And that is your own knowing. So why did it work for Jesus? Quite simply because he made this idea that there is a being in heaven, outerworldly being, that is giving the orders and it must rule over you. It must be the judge, and he made that his truth. And then he can ask out of that truth because it is him. That is how he sees his entire being. I am not that which asks for itself. I am not that is thinking for itself. I am that. That is my truth. But it has to become the truth first. You have to make yourself into that being first for the whole thing to work. So that you can stand in that truth. And then again, I'm asking you, should you do that? That is the way of Jesus. That is the way of the cross. Should you go there? Or should you stand in your own truth? Because the real truth, and here's the truth that you should be standing in. And it was also preached. Again, there's two ways in the New Testament. The way of the cross is that you do away with your own truth. You do away with your own brain. You do away with your own knowing. You become a zombie, a mindless follower, the body of Christ. You become a part of the body of Christ that will do the will of God. And you have to work on yourself to do that. And the church has been working on you for 2,000 years to create you into that being. Well, let's see if push comes to crunch now, whether they've actually managed to do that, or whether our own truth will resurface out of the veil. And we will follow the law of our own conscience. But the only truth you really need to know is, first of all, that this is a reality and that the Creator gives, that you will receive. That is the only truth you need to know. You ask whatsoever you ask for in prayer, and then we really must find out how prayer actually works. I would say at the moment I'm thinking visualization and feeling. But we really must find out how prayer really works. But the knowledge that we will receive must become our truth. Yeah, that must become the reality we are in. We will receive. And then we must be of sound judgment about what it is we're asking for. And then our conscience will tell us. Our being will tell us. We know right and wrong. We know it. So there is the truth, because when Jesus asked, and again make that very clear, that which he was asking of in the name that he was asking in were two different things. He's asking of the Creator, but he's asking in the name of this outer worldly being, that his will shall be done. And that was his truth, and it worked. But as I said, it is absolutely not necessary for some greater outer worldly being to be there to tell you what to do. That is completely unnecessary. But it will work. And that's the other thing, it will work. And we know that because it's already working in this world. There are churches that are working this, that have revival weeks or whatever they're doing, and people are being healed during those times. When the Spirit comes down and people are being healed. And why do they think that people are being healed? Because it was the will of that God. Again, his will is being done. That is their visualization. There's God there somewhere, and it is his will, and that is their truth, and it works. For God to be there, out there, is absolutely not necessary. Just ask. And you know. That should be your knowing. That should be your truth. Know that you will receive. He gives to all. And only if we work it like that will we be absolutely free. We will also be responsible for the outcome. Right now we can blame God. Many do. And actually not wrong. Blame God and the church. They are the ones that are setting the agenda. So they are the ones that are given the order. So yeah, they are the ones to blame for the outcome. Well, in a way we are to blame as well, because we should have been the adversaries. Our truth should have been the adversary to the will, to their will, to the will of that God. But here we're beating down the adversary. We're getting rid of him. Get Satan out of your heaven. Yeah? Make sure nothing stands in the way of the will of God. And there you go. And that is the world that it has created. So, again, this is where we're at. Again, they're trying to suppress this knowledge. They have suppressed it for 2,000 years. If it now comes to a point where it can no longer be suppressed, where they have to acknowledge it because it is happening, and it is in the awareness of the people that it is happening, that it is a reality, then the church will have to change course. Yeah? And it will still be the same thing. Follow the way of Jesus. Yes, you can do that. Yes, you are that being, but it must be done in the service of that otherworldly God. He must tell you what to do, because you cannot know it by yourself. And that's a lie. And maybe even teaching you that it cannot be done unless you are following the will of that God and obeying His commandments. And that is an even greater lie. That is actually the greatest lie of all, that you need Him there for it to work. You only need Him there for it to work because you have made that your reality, your truth. Again, if that wasn't your truth, if you had not let that thought in to work inside of you, to create you, I mean, if that is your truth, then God has the power. Yes, He has. And if that is your truth, it will not work unless you're being told to do so, because that is your truth. But you need to create that truth first. The other truth is you can straight up ask. Straight up. There needs to be nothing else. Just know that you will receive. And as I said, be of sound judgment what it is you're asking for, and then follow your conscience. It will tell you. So there are the two ways. And I said, as the church has worked this in the material for 2,000 years, you must follow the commandments of God. And then, of course, God, or the Pope, is the embodiment of God in this world. So you must follow what he says, because he's got the direct line to whoever, whatever. And people have done that. They have followed authority. And at the moment, I mean, in a way, it is actually very bad to think, but they seem to have created the follower, that being that has got no brain of its own. Yeah? Because at the moment, people are following. And it seems it doesn't matter what they follow. Yeah? Church, politician, a pop star, if needs be, it doesn't really matter anymore as long as you follow and do as you're told. You need to snap out of that. We absolutely need to snap out of that mindset of the follower and stand in our own truth. Because if this thing is going to happen, Jesus said, I tell you this for a time like this. That was a time of miracles. Now, I don't know whether that was because there was an outside energy coming in, or whether the people were creating it themselves. You know, it was a truth that came out of themselves. But it was a time when it happened, the time of Jesus. When it happens again, know what I told you. So I think the church has been preparing for 2,000 years for that might happen again, to make sure they have got enough sheep on board to work this. Yeah, you become part of the body of Christ. You following his way. You become the zombie that will do the will of God on a higher level if we have that knowledge. And that is simply that. In which way should that knowledge be used? What should it serve? And who should be the master? Who should be the judge? Us? Our conscience? Or some other worldly being that is so great and so unknowing, and it must tell us what to do because we are complete idiots? Well, if you think that, then you are a complete idiot. Anyway, folks, here I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.